Okay, so today we are working on finding the product on page 71, numbers 1 through 18, in the Mathematics 1 textbook, the Georgia High School Mathematics 1 textbook by McDougall Littell. So, here we are. It says to find the product, but we have something raised to a power. So we have to understand that powers do actually mean to multiply by itself. So here, it's 8x minus 5 times 8x minus 5. And I guess the biggest mistake would be that if somebody was to take that squared and square the 8x and also square the 5. You cannot distribute a power across a plus or a minus sign, or addition or subtraction. So you'll never be distributing a power inside like that, unless it is simply a monomial. See, this right here is a binomial, so it's a binomial raised to a power. The only way we can do this is one of the ways we can do it is to write it out as multiplication and then just multiply the two. So 8x times 8x is going to give us 64x squared. So I've done this. 8x times negative 5 is negative 40x. Negative 5 times 8 is another minus 40x. Negative 5 times negative 5 is plus 25. So there, it's 64x squared. And I think you guys see that these are like terms. And those like terms add up to negative 80. Whoops. Negative 80x, and then plus 25. And you might ask yourself, well, it's not that much different. See, if I were to just square the 8x, I would have gotten 64x squared. And if I were to square the negative 5, that would have given me a positive 25. But there is a middle term here, and it's negative 80x. Or if you can think of a quick way to get that negative 80x, then you can use a little shortcut. Okay? So what I typically try to think is, well, 8 times 5 is negative 40. 2 times that is negative 80. So that little trick is always going to work when you are squaring something. So here we are on number 2. We're going to square a binomial. So I need to write it out. 4p plus 4 times 4p plus 4. First, 16p squared. Outer, that's 16p. Plus inner, 16p. And plus 16. And what you'll see is that the middle terms again are like terms, and it's the same exact thing. 16p, 16p, 32p, plus 16. So what I was trying to tell you earlier is that you could have just squared the first one and squared the last one. So square the first one, you get 16p squared. Square the last one, you get 16. Now what you do with these two is you multiply them together and then multiply by 2. So multiply these together and you get 16p multiplied by 2, 32p. Or you can just always take your FOIL step. However, I think they've given us so many questions like this so that we can try to remember the shortcut to it. Okay? So if I were going to do this, number 3, using a shortcut method, I think I would square this, so I'd say 100m squared. And then I'd take negative 11 and square it. That's 121. And then the middle term is 10 times negative 11, which is a negative 110 times n. So negative 110m. But remember, we're going to multiply that one by 2. So negative 220m is your shortcut. Now, I won't do that shortcut method too often, but I just wanted to make you guys aware that there is a shortcut to it. So especially if you have a calculator, okay, you take your calculator out and you just do this: 10 times negative 11 times 2. And there's your negative 220 that we had seen earlier when we did that question. Okay? Here we are, number 4. We're going to write it out as a FOIL problem. I told you I won't do the shortcut all the time, but I want you to start seeing it anyways. 11 times 11 is 121 s squared. 11 times negative 10 is negative 110s. Negative 10 and 11 is negative 110s. And negative 10 and negative 10 makes 100. So 121s squared minus 220s plus 100. And that's a very similar answer to the answer in number 3, actually. So I told you guys that I like circling my answers, and then I stopped circling them on this video for whatever reason. So I'm just going to do that. That way all your videos are the same. Alright, so 20b minus 15 squared. Since I have just a very little room here, I'm just going to go ahead and walk you through how to do it shortcut way. 20 squared, I'm going to use my calculator. I know 2 squared is 4, so 20 squared should be related to that somehow. Oh yeah, 400. Okay, so 400 b squared okay minus 15 times 20. I'm sorry, negative 15 times 20 times 2. It's negative 600. Remember, I multiply these together, then I multiply by 2 to get that middle term. So negative, oh, I'm sorry, I already wrote the negative. So 600 b, and then plus 15 squared. Take 15 and square it. That gives me 225. And there's my answer. I can do it in one step. Okay? This gets a little bit more challenging because now we actually have 2 variables. So let's write the first one out and then see if our shortcut still works. M plus 4n, m plus 4n times m plus 4n. So m times m gives me m squared. M times 4n gives me 4mn. And the reason I put the m first is because m comes before n in the alphabet. And then the 4n and the m becomes 4mn. Again, the m comes first because it's in the it's first in the alphabet. And then 4 and 4 gives me 16n squared. And then finally, when we write our answer, we're going to add like terms. M squared plus 8mn plus 16n squared. Okay? So, could our shortcut have worked? We have m squared, so we square the first one. 4n squared was 16n squared. And then we multiply these two together, remember? And then we multiply by 2. So 4mn times 2, 8mn. So our shortcut actually still works if